Welcome to the Kim Barrett Show. I am your host, Kim Barrett, and on today's episode, we are diving into how much you should spend on your Facebook ads, all the secrets revealed. And of course, before we jump into that, if you ever need help with your ads, with your marketing, head over to our free Facebook community, www.joinmygroup.com.au. But until then, let's jump into the show. Now, it doesn't matter if someone's been running ads for a long time or a short time. The question I always get asked is, how much should I spend on my ads? And today I really want to dive into what that looks like for someone who's new to ads. So if you're someone who's just been launching or just starting and just getting going, here is the answer that a lot of people don't want you to hear. They don't want you to know. But you need to ascertain a research budget, right? So if you go back in the days when people used to go and create TV ads, radio ads, billboard ads, they would go and do focus groups. They would go and pay people to come in a room to research, to find out what people like, what they don't like. Do they like this color? Do they like that color? Do they like a guy or a girl? Whatever it might be, they'd go and do all of this research to actually figure out what they should spend their marketing dollars on. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, this has disappeared. In the world of social media advertising, everyone's like, no, don't worry about that. We'll just shuck this up. We'll put this over here. And they don't spend the time or money to actually research. Even the likes of huge podcasts like The Diary of a CEO, Kim Barrett, they will test thousands of dollars every single episode to see which thumbnail should be used on YouTube. They'll split test, they'll test headlines, they'll test faces, they'll test gestures to see which is going to be the one that will actually give them the best click-through rate, which means they'll get the most viewers on their podcast. So if you're someone who's like, all right, I want to launch ads, I want to launch a new campaign, you should allocate a portion of your budget to testing, to information gathering, to getting the data on what it's going to look like for you to be able to figure out how much are you going to spend. So I would recommend taking 10 to 20% of your monthly budget. So if that's $2,000, you want to take a couple $100, $200-$400, and just go, that is for testing. That is just for me to figure out what my cost per lead is, what my cost per click is, what my cost per impression is, what my click-through rate is, to get all of these stats and numbers and just write those dollars off in your head, write that money off, and just be like, that is my research budget. Now, if you do that, it just means that you're going to be a lot more confident in making the decisions. You're not going to care if you've only got one lead in the campaign so far. You're not going to really be worried and stressing yourself out, being like, oh, I've spent this money already. It's not working yet. It's purely to gather data. And if you do that and you do that properly, what you'll actually find is then when you go to launch your campaign, you've already got existing data. You know what a click-through rate is. You know how much it's going to cost you. You know approximately what your cost per lead is going to be. And then you can actually go and figure out what is your budget for your ads. Because if you don't do that, people just throw out a number. Oh, spend $5,000, $10,000, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it might be. But you want to first and foremost go and gather the information. Find it out, test a couple of different objectives, test a couple of different headlines, test a couple of different images, and just see which one seems to resonate the most with your market. Then you can take that and bring it back into your core lead gen campaign. Then from there, figuring out what you want to do from an ad spend perspective is relatively easy because you know approximately with the first, $300, $400, $500 and spend more if you can allocate it towards testing, but you should be able to find out what your cost per lead is roughly at the beginning. And obviously I know everyone wants cheap leads. They want to bring their cost per lead down. You can do that next. Don't worry. Don't stress. You can do that next. But what we want you to focus on first and foremost is going, all right, great. Now that I figured out roughly, let's say it's $30 cost per lead, right? And you need to speak to 10 people to generate one sale, right? So 30 times 10, quick math, that's $300 that we need to spend to get one sale. And you want to get 5 sales a week, times it by 5 now, continuing our maths class today, 300 by 5, $1,500. $1,500 per week if we wanted 5 sales and it cost us $300. $1,500 per week. We multiply that by 4 weeks in the month. Well, I know you could divide 4.2 and all this other math stuff. Don't come for me, maths geniuses, right? But let's just do roughly multiply that by 4. 1,500, $6,000 would be your monthly ad spend budget. Reverse engineer that by 30, gives you your daily budget, right? if we're looking at that, again, quick math, that's $200 per day that we'll be spending on our ads. Only because we've done the research. We've dived into what does it look like? What is our rough cost per lead going to be? And of course, sometimes it might be higher than that. But that's a much more effective way to figure out how much to spend on your ads when you know what the metrics are that you're looking for, and reverse engineer and step that back to figure out what your daily ad spend should be. And again, if you do that, you can figure it out. And look, it's not reflective that you need to go and do that straight away. Let's say that's your goal that you want to get towards. You might go, great, yes, I want 5 sales per week, but I'm going to start with 5 sales per month. Great, $1,500 a month is your budget, right? Now we know that maths. We know what the cost is. But then again, let's say that you go, actually, I just want to start with $500 a month. You can't be upset if you don't hit your goals of 5 sales when you know that it's going to cost you $1,500 and you only spend $500. That means it might take you 3 months to get to that point. But all that does is actually give you a number to work towards. It removes any stress, confusion, overwhelm when it comes to ad spend, which I find happen a lot with people, especially when they're first and foremost coming into the world of ads. And it just removes all of the headache, removes all the burden, makes it a lot easier. Now, again, I know I've simplistically broken this down, but 3 steps. Number 1, get a research budget. Number 2, figure out your cost per lead. Number 3, reverse engineer that to figure out what your cost per lead should be. Reverse engineer that to figure out what your ad spend should be across a month, a day, if you want, a week. Then you've got a metric to work towards, to optimize and improve upon. And if you do that, you do that properly, you will have all the successes when it comes to ads. Now, I'm trying to help you guys understand ads more so you feel more confident, you feel more driven to go and do this. I hope that's you. I hope you take some action. I hope you do. Please let me know if you do. Of course, if you've got any questions you want me to cover for you guys on another future podcast, just let me know. Hit me in the comments, shoot me an email, hit me up on the socials, @RealKimBarrett, pretty much everywhere you can find me. But until next time, I'm Kim. You all have been awesome. Adios. We'll see you then.